Hey guys, what's up? It's George. This is our going to be our first pre-rendered movie review, and we are reviewing Iron Man 3, which just came out last week. Here I have with me, as always, is Rico Gale and Wade Patrick Sheridan. Uh,
Hello,
Hello,
hi.
hello, hello.
just little disclaimer: there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, you know,
Or maybe even spoilers for previous Marvel movies that this ties into.
Oh,
if
definitely,
you haven't seen
absolutely.
anything, Avengers or anything
I
before,
mean, it is
just
Iron Man
or
3.
yeah,
There's 2 before it.
just yeah, get to it and close this immediately. All right, so I'll let you guys take the floor, say whatever you want, and no pressure. Go for it.
I don't even want to go first. I want to ask Rico what he thought of the movie.
Rico, what did you think?
I thought the movie was great. I mean, I had a few love-hate about some of the decisions, but I think the movie, as by itself, standalone, I think it's a great movie. I think it was funnier than the other ones. It was much less convoluted than Iron Man 2, was much more direct and to the point. And they focus a lot more on the man in the armor, which is I thought was excellent. And when you look at the movie as part of the four, because let's be honest, I'm sorry, Avengers is pretty much an Iron Man movie. Half of that movie, I mean, take place in his house or in his tower. They're using his technology to open the
Right.
portal. So if you look at the journey of Iron Man, it's like it was basically the humanization of Tony Stark. At the beginning of his journey, he's completely disconnected from people. He's basically just a womanizing boozer who goes around and sells weapons to people just so he can, keep making more money to keep selling weapons. And he gets taken on this journey that forces him to adapt and become something much more, not only to become a better person, less of a selfish dick and more of an actual hero. And he's not doing it in that cheesy like true blue sort of way. He's doing it in a very real human way in which he actually stumbles and falls, but he picks himself up. He looks at the big picture and presses on and moves forward. And I thought that was a really awesome. It's great character development in the story, and to see that from a comic book movie is it's really great from a storytelling standpoint, and it looked fantastic.
Wow, Wade, beat
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I don't want to be the party pooper. But I like how you brought up Avengers, and I like how you brought out that you considered Avengers an Iron Man movie, because I do as well. And the biggest issue for me is that the movie The Avengers was a better Iron Man movie than this was. And okay, I'll put it this way. If Iron Man 3 had come out before The Avengers, came out like earlier, I would have better understood it and been like, okay, like this is cool, this is nice. And I don't want to say it's a bad movie because I don't think it's bad. It's not bad by
I think it's
any.
average according to
I
your
think it's
review.
average. I think it's an average movie, and I'll tell you why. Half of my dislike is that this movie, to me, is completely and utterly not a post-Avengers world. Marvel has spent all this time and all this money and all these other movies to establish this universe that this is all together, these characters all live and function together, and then Iron Man 3 seems to ignore that. Yes, in Iron Man 3, they do mention what happened in New York in the Avengers. They do mention other characters, like I think Thor is mentioned a couple times, and that's all cool. But the universe to me starts to really fall apart in this movie when so many different things are happening, and yet none of the other characters are getting involved. Now, I didn't expect the Avengers to pop in here or for Shield to pop in here, but there needed to be more, and they were doing things that I just thought were ridiculous that they wouldn't get involved. Number one, Tony's house is completely destroyed and he is announced dead all over the news. You don't think the Avengers would be like sitting down, drinking their coffee, and then like spit it out and be like, "What? Tony's dead. Oh my God, let's do something. Let's help out our boy." No, no mention of that. And then the part that really kills me, is that Shield, run by the government, that is monitoring everything. And all the other movies, they're watching everything and know everything that's going down. They knew when Thor landed on our planet. The President of the United States is kidnapped. All right? The president of the United States is kidnapped. Where's Shield? Nowhere to be found. I would have felt a lot better if, like, Nick Fury just even gave Tony Stark a phone call, like, "Hey, motherfucker, the president's kidnapped. What you gonna do about it, or whatever?" And Tony could have been like, "I got it under control. Me and Iron Patriot, we're gonna do this." No Iron Patriot thing, which I actually liked. I thought, because Iron Patriot in the comics is completely different. So when they announced that he was in this movie, I thought it was kind of weird. But they had like a good idea for him, like that he was just like the next War Machine. I thought that was pretty cool. But then I
That was
started to think,
stupid, but
if
go
the
ahead.
United States needed to pick their spokesperson, wouldn't it be the Avengers, or like more like Captain America, who Iron Patriot basically has the same out. It's basically Captain America painted over Iron Man. So it
Uh,
like makes it weird to me. I don't know, to be in the same universe. Um
wait, what?
like that, I thought no one, like Iron Patriot, like his color scheme and how he looks,
Uh-huh.
it's basically Captain America painted onto an Iron Man suit. Like
Right.
it's
But do you know where Iron Patriot comes from in the
Yeah,
comics?
yeah, I
Okay.
do. But I'm saying it's weird for me for it to be in this movie like that when we have,
Uh,
yeah,
But in the defense of the movie, War Machine clearly states that they were rebranding it because War Machine was too aggressive. So that alone clears up the entire reason as to why the switch is. It's not. They didn't say it's a new armor. They just said clearly, "Oh, we're rebranding it because that one is too aggressive. We're going in a new direction," which is completely
right.
understandable.
yeah, I like that, but I thought we're gonna make it look as close to Captain America as possible. Like I don't know, maybe they could have made it look a little different, is what I'm saying.
All right. Uh,
Um,
oh, go ahead. Keep going.
any other problems I have? I'm sure this is gonna be like one of the main things we talk about is the Mandarin. Now, I'm not. I read comics, but I was never really into Iron Man comics per se.
Right.
So I don't have a connection to Mandarin. I don't want to come off as one of the because the comic book fans are the ones that seem the most mad about Mandarin. The people who really loved the character of Mandarin. I don't want to come off as like
All
I'm one of
five
those.
people that read Iron Man comics.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, online, people are like, "Oh, but the Mandarin's so cool and you guys ruined him." I don't want to seem like I'm saying this because I love the Mandarin, because I have no
Right.
connection to him.
Nobody really
I'm,
loves the Mandarin, but
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean, though.
Right.
Um, I don't like what they did is purely from like a film standpoint. When this movie started and the Mandarin and like his TV, his what do you call it? His
TV spot promo.
TV spot promos. All right, and he's saying his whole spiel, and
You'll
some people consider
never
me a
see
terrorist.
me coming.
Yeah,
But
you
it
want to know
makes so much more sense
it makes a
now.
lot more
It
sense
makes
why
so
he
much more
sounds so
sense.
retarded.
yeah, and like, see, during all that, I ate it all up. I was drinking that Kool-Aid. I was like, man, Mandarin is awesome. Mandarin is so awesome. He's so badass. Like this is it, man. Like I just loved it. I loved it. I thought this is such a cool villain. Like he's Osama bin Bane. Like he's so cool.
Osama bin Laden.
And the twist, like it really, like I didn't want to believe it at first. I was like, nah, this isn't happening. Nah, this isn't happening. Now he's gonna turn around and he's really the Mandarin and he's gonna like shoot Tony Stark. No, and I was still in utter disbelief the rest of the movie, and I was like, he's still gonna come back. He's still gonna come back. I was still crossing my fingers that the Mandarin was real, and I was really, really thrown off and disappointed by that.
Well, the Mandarin is real. The
You know what
guy
I
is
mean?
the Mandarin. I
He's
caught that like at the beginning of the movie, like when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, this guy. When they mentioned like nobody knows who the Mandarin is or whatever, I'm like, oh, this guy's probably gonna be the real Mandarin. The other guy's not gonna be. He's gonna be like a dummy, a fake dummy or whatever, not a real
yeah.
person.
I
I
guess I
didn't
should
think it was
say
gonna go
yeah.
that far into like English Ringo Starr type of.
Yeah, yeah, he was like Ringo Starr, wasn't he?
I didn't think it was gonna be that bad, but I kind of caught that that guy was gonna be the actual Mandarin. I mean, it didn't bother me that much, the whole bait and switch type of thing, and how he's nowhere near the actual original Mandarin. But because like if you watch like all the other Iron Man movies, they don't follow the comics whatsoever. None of the Marvel movies follow the comics in any way,
Precisely.
shape, or form.
Absolutely. It's a
I think the closest one was probably Captain America,
yeah, yeah.
and you know,
The thing that comic books have to understand, but always they love to leave this out, is what they're doing is they're reinventing these books for a new generation.
right.
They're exposing them to a new audience. In the beginning, everything was born in there was the silver age of comics, and after 20, 30 years, it got stale and they had to reinvent it again. And then after 20, 30 years, that's when we came around in the 90s and things were, bright colors and da-na-na-na-na-na,
There you go.
and then and so now it's 10, 20 years later and they have to readapt it to a new audience. So the stories are going to be born from the same source, but they can't be the same because the same ideas, we don't live
That
in
and
the same world.
you're translating it to film, so you got to be able
Exactly.
to get that story condensed into a 2 hour, entertainment
Precisely.
thing.
And I'll say this about the Mandarin. That's specifically who I was referring to when I said I had a love-hate relationship,
Yeah.
because I absolutely love what they did with the character of the Mandarin, but at the same time I really hated it because the character in the Mandarin is very, very cool and he has like magic and he's an awesome Tony Stark villain and a great foil to Iron Man. But in this generation that we've lost all that, and that's sort of like I suck. So I kind of feel where the comic fans are coming from. But at the same time, I understand that we got to move forward. I mean, where does magic really fall in the new world that they've created? I mean, until Thor
Doctor
comes out, the
Strange.
new one. I mean, I'd love to make a Doctor Strange movie. That would tie everything in really well. But I think they would definitely need to go into Thor a little bit more because he focuses on more on a less technological or a scientific element, or actually he's kind of going off magic science is what they're doing.
Right.
But I think that will help bridge sort of the new audience that they're going towards. It'll help them accept the fantastical a little better, and it'll bridge the gap better for Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. Because that shit is, one of the main characters is a talking raccoon, and one of the other main characters is a
A
talking
tree.
tree.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't just push that on the audience immediately. And I
Gotta
think
ease in.
and Marvel Studios is doing a beautiful job of doing things like this. It's like they're changing the world, but they're not doing it in a drastic way for people. They're not doing it in a way where it's too much to swallow at a time. They give you a tiny little trickle. In the trailers, they gave you the old Mandarin that you're used to seeing with the theatrics and the green robe and the rings. And then in the movie, they took that away from you and gave you a substitute or gave you the new version. So I think what comic book fans have to do is they have to learn to let go, while at the same time, keep an open mind.
Now, the thing I'm gonna have to agree with Wade about the whole post Avengers thing, because this was the main
Yes,
thing I
I
was gonna
definitely
be
agree with you on that as well.
this was the main thing I was gonna be focusing on since the Avengers, because it's like, how are they gonna top the Avengers now that they don't have all their superheroes? And Wade brought up a good point about the whole the lack of Avengers showing up when they find out that Tony Stark is dead, and then he gives people a call like, "Hey, I'm not dead." They're like, "Oh, that's good." It felt kind of it didn't feel like almost very realistic. I think Gwyneth Paltrow was the only one that like actually had a reaction that was like believable when you think somebody that died, and then you find out they're alive, and you know.
Yeah.
But I can't remember where I was going with this now that I think about it.
Well, I was gonna
Uh,
say
Well,
even with Iron Man 2, a lot of people don't like that movie, but when you watch Iron Man 2, Shield is heavy in that movie a
Right.
lot. They're with him. Samuel L. Jackson and Black Widow are with him the entire time,
Right.
and
But
then this one.
another thing is it. I know the Iron Man movies kind of like stand alone on themselves, but I've noticed like all the other movies kind of progress the overall
story arc.
Avengers story arc forward. This one didn't do it, even
Well,
though I know like Iron Man was kind of like the start. I think Iron Man 2? No, Iron Man 1. Did Nick Fury show up?
At the end of
yes.
the
Yes. Okay. Nick Fury shows up in the end of Iron Man 1. So he's starting it, and then Nick Fury's in the second one, and they're kind of introducing more characters and slowly progressing. This one just kind of stopped. Like it was standalone. There was nothing really that involved, Thanos or whatever or anything of the sort. It was just like, so what do you guys plan to do? You're just gonna have like these movies be their own separate thing, and then just Thanos shows up. Hey, what's up? You guys remember me from 6 movies ago?
I think the reason why they do that, I sort of defend that decision in the sense that Iron Man 3 is a movie specifically about Tony Stark the man and almost nothing else.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, they zoom in on him and him as a character. Like I understand what you guys are saying as far as like the reaction to him in the world, but the way I see it, it's like I don't know too many Avengers who would be killed by an airstrike to their house. So, as far as other Avengers are concerned, not only would they have other pressing issues, but I also don't think any of them would actually believe that Tony would die after that. And, shortly thereafter, he started fucking around and doing other silly things.
Right.
But as far as S.H.I.E.L.D. is concerned, they definitely would know Tony Stark isn't dead. They have beads on him everywhere. So the minute he would have contacted someone, they
Yeah.
would have known.
But the lack of
Showing that.
presence in the
Definitely.
movie kind of they kind of dropped the ball on that one. Yeah, so.
I'll give you that, but on the same token, I feel like if they would have included that too much, it would have been just like the previous movies where it would have gotten a bit too convoluted, where there would be too many outside external forces coming in on the main storyline and distracting you from the actual.
No, because
what's actually happening.
I think if they just did it subtly, just kind of just like we still exist in this universe. Because look at what they did in Avengers. Okay, Natalie Portman wasn't in that movie, but they have a scene
Very good
specifically
point.
speaking about, it's like, hey, she's cool, she's okay, don't worry about her, and then that was it. And it was like, that's fine, that's enough. Thor's back on Earth, and he wants to know how his girlfriend's doing. So, that's a terrible long distance relationship. But
Yeah, it is.
To close this out, what did you guys think of the ending? Because I also think the ending is a little weird. Also, because it's like, are they
I
trying?
got something for that. Here's what I think happened to the ending, because like you guys, I was a bit disappointed. When I heard the movie was going to include the Extremis storyline, I was very, very excited, because in the comics at the end of the end of the Extremis storyline, Iron Man / Tony Stark gets a massive upgrade. Like he basically turns himself into a computer and he controls the suit by thought. Now, at the end
Wow.
of the movie, he starts from a clean slate. And remember, in the end of the movie, Pepper's the one infected with the extremist status, not him. Now, in the comic book, what he does is he purposely infects himself with the extremist virus and then modifies it to upgrade himself. So at the end of the movie, remember, he loses all his suits, he stopped, and again, he's in his human form. He's just Tony Stark. But at the end of the movie, his last words is, I am Iron Man. So I think he's going to get the upgrade in the new Avengers 2 movie because, Avengers 2 is basically Iron Man 3.5.
yeah, 3.5.
So that's what I think that's what direction I think they're going to go with that right there. I think they're going to have that huge reveal. Like how we got the new suit where he jumps out of the window and the suit like conforms to him. And it was like the new first time you'd ever seen that in Tony Stark movie in Avengers 2. I think that's what the big Tony Stark reveal is going to be for the new movie.
Yeah.
On that point, it will make sense if he gets that upgrade because they're going to be fighting Thanos, and Thanos is a god. So we need as much.
Everybody's
extra
going to step
powers.
their game up.
Yeah,
Right.
especially the human characters. I don't know how they're going to fight him.
We'll just hang back here, guys. We'll be here.
I'm just going to shoot Thanos with my 2 pistols. That'll work, right?
Yeah.
I also have some wrist darts that knocks out humans.
And tasers. Don't forget her tasers.
I also do a mean Hurricane Rana, too. Does that work on gods?
And here's another thing I wanted to point out. Is it me or it felt like this movie was like a Michael Bay movie? I don't know. Like I got such a Michael Bay vibe from this. It's like nonstop jokes and witty comments coming at you back and forth, and then there'll be like an action scene, and then they even film it in Vizcaya, the Miami scene.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
Which
yeah.
was in Bad Boys 2. So I'm just like,
Nice.
oh my god, all of and the fact that Iron Man or Tony Stark kills more people with a pistol than
Than he
with this
does in the actual suit.
It felt like a Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
6,
it was very
especially when you see what's his name when they're together, Rhodey and Tony, when they're just like there, they got their 2 guns, and I'm like, oh shit, it's Mel Gibson and Danny Glover.
Nah,
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Similarities.
Yeah, I was just like, wow, this is like the ultimate buddy cop movie right now, and then they just happen to go into their suits.
The buddy cop sequence where he's just like, no one can hit a bulb from this distance.
Yeah. There was a lot of that, and then what bothered me was, I mean, the freaking the fact that the movie was good, like by itself. I mean, if you take away like the whole Avengers, no Avengers, references, or there was references, but no like cameos or presence. But like the movie itself was pretty solid. It was funny, it was entertaining. The story wasn't really, there wasn't a lot of plot holes minus those Avengers, like if you connect it to the other movies. Um, but the biggest issue is the comic. When you think about the comics and how it works and stuff, it's just like, I'm thinking about Iron Patriot, and the way they do it in the comics is completely different. Like I mean, I understand that he's not gonna be in this because Sony has the rights to Spider-Man characters and all that stuff, so we're never gonna see the real Iron Patriot plot line come through. But this one, like, I didn't even know why they.
Holy shit!
I don't even know why they had it in the first place. It's like it was literally not necessary to have the Iron Patriot. I mean, it wasn't that necessary. They should have just kept War Machine, and then the plot line still would have been the same exact thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Pretty much.
steal or War Machine's suit and sneak onto the plane or whatever. I can't remember what happens.
Yeah,
But
now
yeah,
that I think about it, the
it's
only
like it
reason
would have
why
been
they
the
really
same.
had it in there is for a joke.
Yeah, it was like I don't understand why it was insulting it to me. Like there's like no reason. I mean, that was clearly for comic book fans, but they didn't follow any of the comic books. Like it was just like this is fucking stupid. But yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to point out. That and the buddy copness, because it was a lot.
Speaking of stupid, worst Marvel ending scene ever, in
Oh,
my
yeah.
opinion.
That I
In
don't.
the
I don't
post
know.
credits,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't.
you didn't like that? I thought that was hilarious.
I didn't
No.
find that funny.
They didn't tease us anything.
It didn't tease, and it wasn't that amusing because I don't really care for that guy.
It was
so-
like the
You
swarm.
don't
It was
like
like
Mark
the
Ruffalo?
I don't like his. Yeah, I don't like the way he acts.
You're a
He's just
communist, George.
I guess.
it was like the shawarma scene from Avengers. But
The
see
shawarma scene
that.
was good though.
But see,
Like,
no, that scene is better because we got Thanos before it.
right.
This was
But
like
the
giving
thing
us the
is-
corniness before giving us the big teaser.
Well, it's okay. The summer's not over yet. You get Thor in 2 months, and let's cross our
Thor-
fingers.
Thor is in November.
Oh, well, you get Thor in 4 months or 5.
We get Superman in 2 months. Maybe our next review.
And then we get shitty Wolverine. I can't wait to
Yeah.
bash on that. Oh man, I'm gonna
I
see
don't-
that movie just so I can rip it a new one.
I'm going to see it just to support comics, but I'm still iffy about it. I don't know.
Rico's like, I'll go to anything if it's for comics.
Well, not anything. But
So
it's just
okay,
about.
let's wrap this up. Let's give it a grade.
I give it 5 unibeams out of 10.
5 movies out of 10, and we can debate on out of 10 grades.
It's average medcore.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Rico? See it? Skip it? Wait for Blu-ray?
I would say see it. I'd say definitely see it. I'd give it like a 8.5 unibeams out of 10.
Okay. See, that's it. Okay. I'm holding back. I'm holding back. I say see it. If you're a comic book, I don't know, maybe not if you're a comic book fan. Just see it. It's a good movie. It's entertaining. I'd say it's definitely better than, in my opinion, than Dark Knight Rises. But that's a whole other discussion. I give it 4 out of 5.
Ooh, not
Wow.
Dang.
bad. Not bad.
In your review, it didn't sound 4 out of 5, but I
It-
believe.
Yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5. Like, I mean, if we were just pointing out the negatives, but the movie is solid.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. It's funny. You're gonna be entertained.
It flows really well.
It's the pacing's not bad like 2 was. Like this,
Yeah.
it was a little long. I'm not gonna lie. Like there was at times I was looking at my clock and I was like, holy crap, this movie's still going. But it's still pretty good. I would say it's definitely better than the second one. It's not better than Avengers. If
Hell no.
like nothing's gonna.
What
I
are
don't
you,
think anything's
mad?
gonna top Avengers. But yeah, definitely watch it. 4 to
I
5.
agree.
And yeah, that's about it. I think this was pretty good, right? I think we
Yeah,
did
we should
Yeah.
pretty.
do this for Superman and whatever else comes out.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get to see the next what comes up next. Star Trek, right?
Star Trek is next week.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
keep an eye out for that. We'll probably do a review on that. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Excuse me. Like us on Facebook. Like us, the whole deal, all that crap. We'll try to do more of these in the future, and probably some game reviews as well. Take it easy, guys. No buys from you guys. No. No.
No,
No,
absolutely
no
not. Nope.
bias.
Okay.
No grading.
I said buys.
Oh, bye, 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 bye.
All right.